I'm joined by Hugh Marr, one of the top coaches in the game at the moment, to tell us a little bit more about the challenge that Augusta provides. Hugh, what do you have to work on with your players before they come to the Masters?
The single biggest difference at Augusta versus any regular tour event, or indeed other majors, is speed of the greens, contour of the greens, and the challenges that that brings, not just when putting, but also chipping, hitting wedge shots to those targets.
So with that in mind, what do you think is the biggest skill they need in their game coming here?
If you're going to contend at a Masters, you need to be good tee to green. You need to have lots of birdie putts. Lag putting's very key, because at least 3 or 4 times over the course of the week, you're going to end up quite a long way away from the target. And it's sometimes quite difficult for players to visualize the amount of break involved over long distance on these greens. And when chipping, you have to play quite a lot of little chip shots into banks and then let them sort of gently roll onto the greens. But tee to green, I wouldn't say it was specifically any different a challenge to your average week.
It sounds like they need a lot of creativity, perhaps, in their game more than other courses.
Yeah, and I think that's probably been reflected in the quality of winners we've had over the years, or the type of winners we've had over the years. Guys like, obviously, Seve, Bubba Watson, Anko Cabrera, all who are very feel, creative, visual type players. It's certainly, and Tiger, obviously. It's a course that I think tends to suit the eye of that type of player a little bit better.
And of all the holes here at Augusta, obviously they all provide a different challenge, but which is the hardest?
I think merely because of where it comes in the round 18. And if you're in contention in the tournament, it's such a hellish narrow tee shot to hit. And until you've actually experienced Augusta in the flesh, you don't appreciate the elevation change and how tight it is. You probably benefit from hitting a little fade shot up there, which doesn't come naturally to all players. And then if you have got it in play, you're then faced with a huge uphill second shot to a 2-tier green, which you don't need to be that far out to miss the right level, and then suddenly you're staring bogey in the face.
And of all the holes, which is your favourite?
I love being down the bottom of the course here, down 11, 12, 13. I think 13 is such a fantastic challenge. It doesn't necessarily suit guys that hit it a long way. You have to be able to combine accuracy with distance. There has been talk for years now about moving that tee back, which I think would be a crime. It's such a tactical hole, and when you do get in play, the second shot's difficult. If you get a little bit out of position with the second shot, the third shot becomes difficult. So I think, yeah, 13 would be my favourite.
And in terms of how your players prepare for the Masters,
yep.
At what stage in the year do you start discussing the tournament?
Pretty much when the invite hits the doormat on 31st of December.
Yeah.
It's certainly with players who've come here for the first time, the excitement when the invitation hits is pretty high. And certainly with my players, we've been probably looking at certain parts of the course, certain skills for the last 6 weeks. And as we've got closer and closer to the event, we've started to pay a little bit more attention to specific areas of their game.
And looking back in history of all the Masters champions that have come here to Augusta, who do you think has played the course best and, if you like, managed to master the course itself?
That'd be very difficult to say, because there's been so many different types of winners over the years. When Zach Johnson won, I think going back to 07, 08, the place was really firm, really fast. He didn't go for any of the par 5s all week and managed, I think he birdied 8 or 9 of them. And then you have Mickelson, who's obviously a much bigger hitter, Bubba Watson, who's a much bigger hitter, tending to hit big fades. I do have a theory that I think this place suits left-handed faders, and that would certainly be reflected in the guys that have won it. In that, under the gun on Sunday, being able to hit big slices is a lot easier to control than having to hit big draws. And although the course, there's definitely this belief that you need to be a drawer of the ball or a right-to-left player of the ball to do well here, there's only probably 2 or 3 holes where it's necessary. There's a couple where it's advantageous, but there's only 2 or 3 where it's really necessary. And being able to hit that hard cut under pressure is definitely easier than being able to hit a hard draw.
Well, there we have it, the inside scoop from one of the very best in the game, Hugh Marr.